What's going on, guys? Linus here, and welcome to Slay the Spire. This is an indie game that came out, I believe, in December of last year, which is 2017, so like a month ago. And for some reason, it didn't really get on my radar until a few days ago. Yesterday, I finally got my key for it. I say finally, even though I requested it yesterday, but I got a key for it yesterday. And I've already played for several hours. Usually I'm not a very big indie type person. Indie games for me fit into, I'd say, one of three categories. The first one being indie games that really aren't that good. You know, maybe there's an interesting concept in there somewhere, but the execution's so horrible that I just generally play for 5 minutes, immediately exit the game, and never touch it again. The second is games that are interesting or that are, you know, good enough to play for a couple hours because there's an interesting concept or something in there. The execution's pretty good, but eventually I lose interest because I feel like I can get a better experience somewhere else, whether in other indie games or in a AAA game. The third category are indie games that are just really, really good, that you can play for a long time, that have a lot to offer, that have interesting concepts and great executions. I'm talking games like Stardew Valley. You know, it's an indie game, and I played that for lots and lots of hours. Games like Faster Than Light. Just indie games that are executed so well. And I'd say that Slay the Spire is in that last category. This is a card game that combines collecting cards with a roguelike system. So let's just get into the game and I'll show you guys what it's all about. So I'm going to just go play. It is still in early access, so they're still adding stuff to it. They're still fixing bugs. They're still balancing certain cards or, you know, encounters with enemies, stuff like that. We're going to go play. So at the beginning, you can really only pick one character, which is the Ironclad, who has 80 HP, 99 gold, and his unique ability gives him 6 HP at the end of combat, so he heals himself a little bit. After you play one game with the Ironclad, and whether you win or you lose, that's alright, you unlock the Silent. You have a little bit less HP, but you get a relic that makes you draw 2 additional cards at the start of each combat. So you just have more cards that you can choose from, and they also both use very different cards. If you look at the card library, you'll see red cards, which is what the Ironclad uses. And then there's, if you scroll down, you'll see green cards. This is what the Silent uses, and they're extremely different in how they work. Then there's colorless cards as well, which either of these can use. There are plans currently to include a third character. Don't know how far along they are, but I'm looking forward to it already. But I'm going to start as the Ironclad for this series, because this is what you start out with. His special ability is actually really sort of beneficial to newer players who are more likely to lose a little bit more health. So at the end of every battle, you will heal 6 HP. Alright? It also tells you how many unlocks you have remaining and how many points you need to unlock. That means that after you finish a run, you get a number of points. If you hit this limit, you unlock more relics, more cards, all that. So, basically, as you unlock more stuff, your runs will start to differ as there's different cards that you can pick that you couldn't the first time around. So let's embark. Let's do this. Greetings. So this is something that actually popped up after I played for the first time as well. Basically, at the beginning of a run, you can choose one option here. So you can remove a card from your deck. You can actually see your deck up here. You only have 10 cards. They're basic attack cards, basic defense cards, and one special card, which deals a bit of damage and then makes enemies vulnerable to your attacks. So you could remove one from the deck. That's an option. You can obtain 100 gold for free. Right? No downside to it. Just 100 gold. You can lose some max HP, but you will obtain a random rare relic. You can also lose your starting relic, which is the one that heals you at the end of combat, but you will obtain a random boss relic, which can be really powerful. But more often than not, there's a downside to these, so this is actually a very risky option to choose, but I'd say it's still quite good. But just for the purpose of this first series, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to make this as easy as possible. I'm just going to obtain 100 gold. This is going to be very similar to what you would have in your initial run, except I'm going to have a little bit extra gold, which doesn't really matter. Now this is the map screen that you will be looking at during your playtime. As you can see, there's a lot of branching paths, that will eventually lead to the boss of the current world. There are 3 worlds as of right now, and you can sort of look at these paths and think, what do I want to do? So here's a little bit of a legend. You can see these little guys are just normal enemies. The ones that have bigger horns, like these, are elites, so they're a lot stronger. They give better rewards if you actually win that battle, but they're risky. There's campsites where you can rest up. There's merchants where you can spend your gold. And there's question marks, which are unknown. You don't know what's out there. They're actually quite interesting, and it doesn't necessarily lead you to any battle. So if we were to start right here and then go like that, this path, we could potentially get to the first rest area without fighting a single enemy. I actually kind of like that idea. Although, alright, let's just try that out. So we're going to fight a normal enemy here, and you can sort of see the combat screen for the first time. Now, there's a couple things that you got to understand about this game. You have a set amount of energy. You always start with 3, but there are ways to get more. And you can use your cards. It will show the cost in the top left corner. So this card will cost 2 energy, leaving me with 1. This, let's see. So you can check the map, you can check your deck. Here you can check your draw pile. This is where you will draw cards from the next turn. And this is your discard pile. This is where all your cards will go at the end of your turn. Right, so if I played defend right now to block some damage, it'll go into the discard pile. It will return to the rest of your deck when it's empty. Now this enemy actually shows me that he intends to attack for 11 damage. Sadly, I can only block 5 because I have no other defense cards. Those are all still in my draw pile, which kind of sucks. So what I could do is I could attack twice for 12 damage, or I could use this ability, which will apply to vulnerable, so he'll take 50% more damage for 2 turns, which I will actually do that. There we go. So I'm going to take 6 damage because I'm blocking for 5. He'll do 11 damage. There's just no other way to deal with this. There is a certain amount of luck involved with what you draw. You can, you know, if you have your first hand, you can sort of predict what you will draw because of your draw pile. So everything that we just saw, we just drew. I'm going to just defend against everything because he's going to block and attack for 7 damage. And I'll actually hit him as well for 9 because he's vulnerable right now, but that's about to wear off, sadly. So after this, the discard pile is going to get shuffled back into the draw pile, and we'll sort of start anew with our deck. But we blocked all the damage, which is good. He, however, is now blocking for 5. He's going to block now and use a buff. So we don't need to actually block ourselves because there's no attack. So we're going to bash him. There we go. And then we'll strike. So he's level 15 health. Now we need to do 21 damage to finish this off. Now we know that a strike does 6 damage, but because he's vulnerable, he'll take 9. So if we just use all of our strikes like that, he will die. And we'll actually, there we go, recover all of our health. I find that health is one of the most precious resources in this game. So damage prevention oftentimes is more valuable than just dealing damage, I feel. And that's also why this relic is so good, because it gives you +6 healing basically for every battle as long as you win. You can also choose a card at the end of battle, which there's a lot of cards out there, and you can sort of build your deck according to what you think is good. So Heavy Blade will do 14 damage, but if you have Strength, which we currently do not, but there are cards that will give you more Strength, which will increase your Strength. Wait, that makes no sense. I just said the same thing. Strength basically makes your attack stronger. Which this card basically, if you have 1 strength, it'll do 3 extra damage and so on. Second Wind, exhaust all non-attack cards in your hand and gain 5 block for each. Exhaust means that it's removed from the game until the end of combat. It does not go into the discard pile. You lose those cards. So this is something you could use if you have cards in your hand where you think these are just not beneficial for this entire battle. I can get rid of them, but it's risky. This one deals 9 damage and allows you to draw an extra card. From the get-go, we sort of have to make a choice. I like the idea of drawing extra cards, but the thing is, we don't really have that much energy. So I'm going to go with Heavy Blade here and hope that we can maybe obtain something that will give us more strength later down the line, because that will make this card a whole lot better. And here we go, the first unknown. You walk into a room to find a large hole in the ground. As you approach the hole, an enormous serpent creature appears from within. Ho, hello, hello, what have we got here? Hello, adventurer, I ask a simple question. The most fulfilling of lives is that in which you can buy anything. Do you agree? If we agree, we gain 175 gold, but we got a curse card, which is in your deck. It's unplayable, so if you have it in your hand, that's a waste of a card. You can't use that. And this one has an extra negative effect. At the end of your turn, you will gain 1 week. So we could actually do this, and I'm actually going to go ahead and do it. This will all be worth it. Alright, so we get a lot of gold from this. The serpent rears its head and blasts a stream of gold upwards. It is amazing and terrifying simultaneously. You gather all the gold, thank the snake, and get going. So we could go into a battle, or we could go into the unknown, which I think this is probably going to be a battle. I just have a feeling. I'm going to check it out. Not a battle. As you make your way down a long corridor, you see a banana, a donut, and a box floating about. No, upon closer inspection, they are tied to strings coming from holes in the ceiling. There is a quiet cackling from above as you approach the objects. What do you do? So we can use the banana and heal, but we have full health, so that's completely unnecessary. We can eat the donut and actually increase our max HP, which is really good. But in the box, there will be a relic. Thing is, we will get a cursed card that will reduce, let's see, at the end of your turn, you lose 1 HP for each card in your hand, and it's unplayable, which is quite bad. We also don't know what the relic will be. That's random. It could be really good, but it could be bad too. I'm gonna go with the donut. I'm gonna get extra max HP. You ate the donut, it really hits the spot. Your max HP increases. Alright. Let's go to the merchant. So this is the merchant. He sells a variety of cards. He will always have one that's on sale, so this one's actually a lot cheaper. It's not a bad card either. He will also sell some relics. Every time you play 3 attacks in a single turn, you gain 4 block. The next 2 chests that you open contain 2 relics instead of 1. And some ashes. Whenever you exhaust a card, deal 3 damage to all enemies. It's not bad. You also sell potions that you can see up here. We currently don't have any, and you can only use these once. So this one will heal 3 HP at the end of each turn for 5 turns. Give us 2 strength. Not bad. Exhaust all status and curse cards from your hand. And you can have a card removed, which I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of this curse, because we don't want that in our deck. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and, let's see. I kind of like this thing, really. I wish I could combine this with those ashes. Because, you know, whenever you exhaust a card, deal 3 damage. This is an exhaust card, so that's 3 damage to all enemies for free. Just sort of included in this card. But we don't have the funds to really pull that off. We could buy the Matryoshka. Draw 3 cards. 6 damage to all enemies, quite good. Innate is another keyword, which means that it starts in your hand every time that you go. So I'm actually going to buy that because I like it. I'm going to buy Seeing Red because it's on sale and it gives you basically 1 free energy, which isn't bad. And I'm going to buy Flex as well. I like this card a lot. It doesn't cost anything. It gives you 2 strength for 1 turn, basically. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy that. Dropkick. Deal 5 damage. If the enemy is vulnerable, you gain 1 energy and you draw 1 card. This is really good in combination with our bash ability. So if you bash someone, then dropkick, you will gain an extra energy and you can draw a card. So I'm going to get that as well. And that'll be all. Let's proceed. Let's see. I feel like we probably should fight some more battles so we can get more cards in our deck. As you come to a dead end and begin to turn around, walls slam down from the ceiling, trapping you. 3 faces materialize from the walls and speak. Forget what you know and I'll let you go. I require change to see a new space. And if you want to pass me, then you must grow. So we can either remove a card in our deck, we can transform a card in our deck, or we can upgrade a card in our deck. Upgrading a card basically makes it a little bit stronger. So upgrading Strike, for example, is not going to increase the cost, but it will do 8 damage instead of 6. and so on. So basically it takes the ability that a card already has and it makes it slightly better. So for Flex it would be, I think, gain 4 strength and then you lose that as well. So that's interesting. Transforming a card will literally do that. It will transform a card in your deck that you choose to a different card, and I think it's something I want to do. I don't want to remove a card right now. I could do that, but it's not as interesting. I'm going to transform. And basically I want to get rid of these strikes because they're very basic attacks, and as such they're really not that great. You can get a lot better later on. So we're going to go with strike. And as you can see, this will start sort of, you know, slot machining. I don't know what to call this. And if you click confirm, it'll stop and it'll change to that card. So let's just hope that we get lucky. Alright, it's not bad. So now we upgraded a card that does 6 damage and nothing else to a card that does 9 damage, and will also place a card from your discard pile on top of your draw pile. So you'll do more damage, and you can sort of ensure that you will draw a certain card from your discard pile next turn again. So that's really good. So this is actually a great event. I'm happy we got this. Let's rest up maybe. Let's do some normal battles instead of, you know, the unknown stuff. So when you're at a campfire, you can either rest, but we have full HP, so we don't need to. So what we can do then is Smith, which will allow us to upgrade a card. And if you click it, you can sort of see what it does. So Strike will do 9 damage if we upgrade it. Seeing Red will reduce its cost. So basically you get 2 energy for free instead of 1, which is quite good. Flex, you know, that. This one's kind of insane. Strength affects Heavy Blade 5 times if you do that, but we have no strength right now, so it doesn't really seem all that great. I feel like a card like Bash might be a better choice. Even though 12 damage for only 1 energy is really good too. But Bash is our only sort of debuff right now that allow us to make enemies sort of weaker. Like they take more damage. Yeah, I'm going to go with Bash. Let's proceed. So here we go up to a normal battle. 2 little slimy boys. Alright, now here's something interesting. They're not going to do any damage. We have Dramatic Entrance. I'm just going to go ahead and use that. So this one's like pretty much already dead. Let's just take him out. And we could use Seeing Red, but there's absolutely no reason because we don't have to block. He's not attacking. He's going to inflict a negative effect on me. Probably something that will make my block less effective or my attacks less effective. Frail. So for 1 turn, we will gain 25% less block from cards. I'm going to use Flex for 0 cost to gain, boom, just like that, 2 strength. So all cards that do damage now do 2 damage more. Then we're going to use Bash to make him vulnerable. We're going to use Headbutt. And he dies, just like that. Pretty easy stuff. So we get 14 gold, a Swift Potion, which allows us to draw 3 cards. Which is good if you have a lot of sort of leftover energy that you want to use. And we get another card. We could get another Heavy Blade, but we don't have a lot of strength right now. Apply 1 weak to all enemies. So that will make their attacks less damaging. So if you have like a bunch of enemies that will all attack you, you could do this to try and, you know, reduce the damage a bit. We could also use Thunderclap. Deal 4 damage and apply 1 vulnerable to all enemies. Which isn't bad, so I'm gonna go with that. Here's the choice. Do we want to face an elite enemy or do we want to face a normal enemy? Thing is, we have full health. Elites actually give you some really, really good rewards. They're tricky though. We're gonna just go for it. Ah, it's this guy, alright. So he just used an ability, or he has an ability called Metallicize, which gives him 8 block at the end of his turn. I'm going to bash him. So he's vulnerable now, but he's stunned for now, so he can't really do much. I'm going to just use Dramatic Entrance because, you know, why not? There's only 1 enemy, might as well just do some extra damage. There we go. So we got in 20 damage on the first turn. Not bad. And we got actually quite lucky that, okay. So he's vulnerable, so Dropkick is completely worth it, because it will do 5 damage, give me an extra energy, use a card. So in other words, it's basically free to use right now, so I'm going to do that. Headbutt, alright. Now we want to prevent some of the damage that he's going to do, so I'm going to block for as much as I possibly can. We could do Thunderclap to make him vulnerable for a little while longer, which I actually quite like, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to use Headbutt so we can do some damage and pick a card to go back on our draw pile. And I'm going to get Dropkick again. So we're still taking 13 damage, which is quite bad, but that's the, you know, that's life, baby. Life is not fair. Alright, we're going to Flex, gain some strength. We are going to Dropkick. There we go. And he's going to do 18 damage. So, like I was saying earlier, I still feel that damage prevention is definitely more valuable than doing a little bit extra damage. So I'm actually going to just throw up all my defenses, and we'll take 3 damage, but, you know, that's not as much. Let's hope he starts doing something else soon, though. Yep, he's going to use a powerful negative effect on me, which I don't like. We're going to Dropkick him again. Seeing red. Actually, that's worth using here, I'd say, because we can use all these abilities now. So we're going to Headbutt the guy. And, oh, right, our discard pile is empty, so actually that doesn't do anything. We can still do a lot of damage with, what even was that called? Heavy Blade. He's about to die. You'll do, you know, negative effect, which is annoying. My dexterity and strength are down, so all my attack and all my block will be reduced, but it doesn't matter, because we can just finish him. Boom. Not too bad. So we really, all in all, we only took 10 damage. We also got a pair from this, which will raise our maximum HP by 10, which is really good. And we can get a new card. Sword Boomerang. Deal 3 damage to a random enemy 3 times. I feel like that's not really all that amazing. Infernal Blade. At a random attack to your hand, it costs 0 this turn. I'm actually really fond of this because as long as you have 1 energy, you can use the card that you get from this. Doesn't matter what it is. Clothesline's pretty good too. You do 12 damage, you apply 2 weak. So enemies will do less damage. Thing is, I really like Infernal Blade. It's random, which is risky, but I kind of like that, so I'm going to go with it. Alright, either way, we are going to get a treasure now. Question is, do we want to rest up and upgrade a card? Or do we want to fight an enemy and then sort of go like that, maybe? I think I like that idea better. Here we go. So it's just a chest. I don't think these are ever booby-trapped or anything. You just get some treasure. 52 gold and a smooth stone. At the start of each combat, you gain 1 dexterity. Dexterity, what it does is it makes your blocks more effective. So actually, this is really good. I will take that. Yes, please. Alright, here we go. We're up against a slaver. Let's just do that. Free damage. I'm going to block. See, so instead of 6, or instead of 5, we'll actually get 6 block now, so we'll only take 1 damage from him. And I'm going to bash him and make him vulnerable. There we go. And he just weakened me. So my next attacks in this turn will deal a little bit less damage. Luckily we have strength though, which I will use. There we go. Dropkick him, because he's still vulnerable. I want to defend, for sure. We'll take 1 damage, but, you know, that's okay. We'll use Thunderclap, make him weak again, and we'll strike for 9. Next turn, basically, he should be dead. Yeah, he's definitely dead. Let's actually use our fun little ability. Costs 1 less for each time you lose HP in combat, deal 12 damage. Alright, well, it's 0 anyway, but there we go. Pretty easy battle. We still have a lot of health remaining. We got a regen potion, which will heal our HP for 5 turns a little bit. And we got a new card. Apply 3 weak and vulnerable to all enemies. Not bad. Flex, which like I said, I quite like Flex. But we have one of those, and I feel like Shockwave's pretty good against multiple enemies. Because not only does it mean that they get more damage, but it means that they also do more damage, or less damage to you. So that's quite good in combination with a card that will do damage to all enemies. I don't think we have one of those yet. Actually, yeah, Thunderclap, for example. Even though that's quite low. But Shockwave's interesting. Only downside is you can only use this once in a battle. So I'm actually going to go with Flex. I'll take an unknown. Alright. You come across an inconspicuous pedestal with a shining gold idol sitting peacefully atop. It looks incredibly valuable. You sure don't see any traps nearby. So if we take it, we will absolutely trigger a trap. I'm going to do it though. So we now have a golden idol, which means that enemies will drop 25% more gold. And we can try to outrun the trap. As you grab the idol and stow it away, a giant boulder smashes through the ceiling into the ground next to you. You realize that the floor is slanted downwards as the boulder starts to roll towards you. If we try to outrun it, we'll get a card that is unplayable. But okay, we could take 23 damage. But I'd prefer not to. We could lose max HP, but we got it nice and high right now, which I love. So I'm going to actually take the card. And we'll try to remove that later. You barely leap into a side passageway as the boulder rushes by. Unfortunately, it feels like you sprained something, however. So let's go to the resting area. And we're going to actually upgrade one of our cards again. Question is, which one should we upgrade? Alright, 7 damage. That's, you know, something. You can actually upgrade Infernal Blade so that it will cost you absolutely nothing, which is pretty cool. But, you know, like I said, it's a really risky card because it could give you something that's really not that good right now. Alright, I actually have grown pretty fond of Dropkick. But I feel like if you are facing like 4 enemies, having Thunderclap upgrade is going to be way more valuable because that's 3 more damage to all enemies instead of, you know, 3 damage to 1 enemy. So I'm going to go with Thunderclap here. Let's make that a bit better. And that's sort of why your strikes get, you know, less and less good as time goes on. Because this will cost you 1 energy for 6 damage. Whereas this one, for example, will now cost us 1 energy for 7 damage to all enemies. Right, so that's pretty crazy. Same with, like, you know, Headbutt if you were to upgrade that, or, you know. So your strikes, you want to either upgrade them, you want to get rid of them, you want to transform them. Is something that I have grown to see. Alright. Actually, guys, I'm actually going to leave it here for now because I feel like this video is long enough. I hope that y'all all enjoyed the video. We're going to just venture on in the next part. If you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like because that really helps me out. And I only ask for that during the first part of a series, so I won't ask you again. And with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you later.